It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazawey. Let's talk some sports.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Oh, I had my headphones down. I'm waiting for the open. What a good start. Lindsey, I had, I'm like waiting for the open. I'm hearing Fletch count me down. And I'm like, okay, hello. But the headphones were totally turned down, so I didn't hear the open. Roll.
Oh, man.
Let's talk some sports. It is Thursday, December 8th, 2022. Bang up job. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. WoodwardSports.com, Woodward Sports Network, Fox2Detroit.com, and the Fox 2 News app. Thank you all for being here. Braylon out today and the rest of the week. He's out on business. The great two-time NBA world champion with the Lakers and the Pistons, Lindsey Hunter. How you doing, my man?
Good. What's up?
Oh, man, there is a lot going on today,
There's a lot going on, right?
Good day to sit in with us, that's for sure. Tom Mazawey, huge breaking news today, but first we say hello to you.
Hey, what's up there, fellas? It's good to be here. We are jam-packed. We got a loaded show for everybody, and we're going to hit on everything today, guys, so buckle up.
Dave Birkett, Detroit Free Press, coming up in about 10 to 15 minutes or so. We got Anthony Broome, Cade McNamara. He was in the news overnight. Went on an Iowa podcast and shared some details and getting slammed for it in Michigan circles. We'll get Anthony to talk about that. And, of course, it is a Top 10 Thursday. Paul Allen will join us, Vikings longtime radio voice. He'll join us in the 3 o'clock hour. Lindsey, got to get to the breaking news today that happened earlier this morning. Brittany Griner, the WNBA star, was released into the custody of the United States. She was traded, essentially, for a Russian arms dealer, Victor Bout, in a one-on-one prisoner swap. Obviously there's going to be political ramifications, and we could talk about that. We don't have to talk about that. But this young lady is exactly where she should be. She is coming home now, and thank God for that.
Absolutely. We talked about it off the air, but I can't imagine being, locked in a foreign prison for as long as she was. It had to be just brutal for her, and just thank God she's home now. I'm really happy she's back.
Spent nearly 300 days, Maz, in a Russian prison, and you could talk about, for the minor amount of hash oil that she had on her. Obviously, it's
illegal.
You think about that here in this country, but man, they really do it differently. They really do it differently in other countries, and my goodness, Maz. Thank God this has come to a resolution for her.
Hey, our country might be a little bit of a mess right now, a lot of a mess, but this is paradise compared to other places. That's why when I go anywhere, I'm staying in the good old USA. I feel like a cowboy on Yellowstone, but I ain't going anywhere. Welcome home, Brittany. But if that was a deal that Troy Weaver made, he got fleeced in the deal. We left a lot of meat on the bone there, to say the least. That's the sad thing.
We are a sports show, so it's like everything gets back to sports. Obviously the political ramifications. If that was a trade that was made in sports, that'd be like trading
Dr. J for $1 million in '76. That's exactly the trade.
Well, perhaps, but again, if that's your family member,
right?
Heaven forbid that's my family member. I wouldn't care if you traded Osama bin Laden,
right,
to get my family member
Correct.
home. You know what I mean? And I thought that Brittany Griner's wife, I don't know if you guys got to see the press conference earlier this morning at the White House, but I thought Brittany Griner's wife was so poignant today, respectful and classy, while while I am smiling, I do recognize that there are other Americans that are detained right now who aren't their families are not as lucky as I am right now, and we will continue to fight for Paul Whelan, the local guy here in Detroit in the Novi area. He is over in a Russian prison right now as well. I just thought to take the happiest moment of your life, essentially, and to really point out that there are others there. I thought that was a really, really class move on her part.
It was great. It was very gracious of her, because she could have easily, been captured by the moment, thinking about her, their self.
Lindsey.
But she thought about others, and it just shows you that, the compassion that they have for that situation, and not only thinking about, my loved one is back, but we need to get everybody's loved one back, and that's awesome on her behalf.
This is a deal that President Biden probably could have made months ago. I'm sorry that it took this long. That's what upsets me. I mean, didn't they ask for this guy to release this guy, this disaster, Dr. Death, whatever the hell his name is? They asked way back when they first took her to prison. Oh, you want her back? Then you're going to give us this guy, Victor, whatever the hell his name is.
Victor Bout.
Yeah.
And again, we're a sports show, so I don't want to go into the
politics.
I'm not saying you. I'm just to our
audience.
I'm
the least political guy.
I know. Well, there's no doubt about that. I'm surprised you even know that Joe Biden is the president right now.
He dresses well.
Seriously, I'm surprised you even know that. But if you do want to learn more about Victor Bout, CBS 60 Minutes did a 60 Minutes report on him back in 2010. They tweeted that out today. U.S. officials were calling him one of the most dangerous people on the face of the earth.
Wow.
And so that's why we're sitting here talking about the trade. But again, nonetheless, we're a sports show. We're going to continue to be a sports show. And thank God that Brittany Griner is home. More off-the-field news today, though, that I want to get to. Mazi Smith, the University of Michigan defensive captain, defensive lineman, who obviously made a lot of news, was charged with a felony gun possession charge earlier in the week, or at least it was announced earlier in the week from a traffic stop 7 weeks ago, was in court today and pled guilty to a lesser weapons charge. He will be sentenced on December 29th. This from the Detroit Free Press. You can go read it for yourself. With this plea deal, he could even avoid a criminal record. So whatever the case may be, however you feel about it, this young man has done everything that was asked of him. He was open, he was honest, and he's had the backing of his university, and now it looks like it's come to a resolution for him.
Absolutely. He made a mistake in a lot of, when we're young and when we're old, we make mistakes. I think everybody's up in arms about it because Michigan is so known for, hey, we do things the right way and we make. Yeah. So people are going to overreact and say, hey, you guys didn't penalize this kid for what he did, and everybody has their own opinion about how they feel about the situation. But he is a young man. He didn't he didn't have a heinous crime or anything. He was caught with a weapon. It happens all the time.
No doubt.
Hey, Lindsey, back in the day, these things happened on teams that you've been a part of. Am I correct? And have been taken care of?
Yes, things happened on teams that I
played. Lots of times, right?
And sometimes people never heard about them.
Exactly.
And the statute of limitations.
It's over. It's over, man. Spill it.
Give me a minute. I don't know. Look until the side eye. I don't know if you want to go into it or not. But bottom line, and maybe this makes me a bad person, I never really cared about this story. I really didn't.
I don't either.
I really never cared about this story. Here's a man, 21 years old, and you can fight and argue about the details of the story all you want. Whether a guy goes out and gets a DUI, whether he gets in trouble with the law, whether he's, carrying a gun, as a sports fan, man, if you looked at each and every person's life out here, you're going to find something that you probably, if you look, and I just never cared about this story. If the University of if Jim Harbaugh and Ward Manuel and pretty much the Ann Arbor police, if they didn't care about this story,
right,
then I don't care either. I just don't.
Well, I'm big into, people aren't their mistakes. You're not your mistakes. No matter how many mistakes you make or what you do, that's not, your entire life. So, kid made a mistake. I'm sure he feels bad about it. He doesn't want to hurt his football team. He doesn't want to hurt his brothers. So let's move on. If there's no long-term ramifications, let's move on. Let's play football.
Right. The Michigan State faction out there. I'm just saying they want blood. Basically, is what they want. And I don't think you can compare what Mazi Smith did and what the kids at Michigan State did in that tunnel. I think it's apples.
Nobody
and
was
oranges.
assaulted.
No, nobody was hurt.
So don't bring it up.
Right.
Who cares? No one was hurt in the Mazi Smith case. If nobody is hurt, murdered, injured, beaten up,
right,
I'm good. I don't give a damn.
That's right.
When you step up like what Antonio Brown did back in the day and stuff, that I care about.
Thank you for the clarification. Yes. If you get in trouble and nobody's hurt, then I don't know. I will say this. Right. We did take in Braylon and I and Tom Mazawey, when Imani Bates went through this similar situation, we didn't even talk about it. We said, let the legal system play out. We are not going to jump on this case. So for all the MSU people out there that wants to say this, that, and the other thing, go ahead and have at it, man. And you can go back and look at the tape of when we found out that Imani Bates at Eastern Michigan got in trouble too. We didn't touch that thing either or have an opinion on it. That's his business and the law's business, and you move on from there.
Absolutely.
That's just how we feel about it.
Amen.
Yeah, and again, we're a sports show, so I don't care about all that stuff. Guys, we are going to talk Lions. We're going to do so with Dave Birkett of the Detroit Free Press. We're going to do it next, and I will tell you, this Lions game against the Vikings could be one of the biggest games in the last decade at Ford Field, and I don't mean that to sell it. I'm gonna do my top 10 Thursday before we get to Dave Birkett, and I'll tell you why.
Well, Dave's coming up right now. He's on the phone.
Oh, he's on the phone.
Yes.
Oh, we got him here.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm going to take a break, and then we'll get to Dave. Thanks so much, guys. But first, a message from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Lady Jane's, an award-winning haircut experience. Register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff-A Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
What's up? This is Fletch for the Bedrock Detroit Decked Out Detroit.
What's up, Fletch?
Downtown Detroit is all decked out this holiday season with return of the Cadillac Lodge in the Monroe Street Midway. The Midway has a giant slide, winter bumper cars, and an indoor arcade. Plus, you can grab drinks at the lodge before or after games. Shop, eat, and play downtown all winter long with deckedoutdetroit.com.
All right, welcome back. WoodwardSports.com, Fox2Detroit.com. Thank you, however you're consuming Woodward Sports. We certainly appreciate it. Ryan Ermanni, Lindsey Hunter in for Braylon today. Tom Mazawey with us as well. I want to bring in Lions beat reporter for the Detroit Free Press, the great Dave Birkett. Dave, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, Dave.
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic. Dave. And the first thing I want to hit you with is this. I went back today and I was just looking at big home games at Ford Field for the Lions. There might be 10 important home games in the last decade. This is one of them. Can you just speak to how crazy this crowd is going to be, how pumped this team will be on Sunday against the Vikings?
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, you think back, right, the Bears game, that first Monday night game they had, 2011, when Ford Field was electric, and the Bears had all those false start penalties. You know, even against the Bills, when that place was brimming, and some of it was Bills fans, but it seemed like there was never a quiet moment in there because they were, it was so boisterous on both sides. I think this is going to be just a great atmosphere, what you kind of want if you're a Lions fan, and maybe what you've been missing for all these years, because the Lions haven't been so, they haven't had a lot of success. And in a game like this, look, 5-7, everyone sort of knows what the Lions are, but this is an important game to play a division leader, a team that you had, the game in hand against the first time around. And if they can win this game, and Dan Campbell said it the other day, maybe it's the fans that help them, get there. All of a sudden you can sort of see this thing really taking off.
And, Dave, this begins, too, with Jared Goff. I mean, you wrote about it in the Free Press today. He is playing his best football right now. What has been the difference? What has seemingly clicked over the last 5 weeks that took a little while to get going?
Yeah, I think there's a few reasons. I mean, look, Jared is playing, some of his best football. I mean, as I put in there today, maybe some of it is luck, right? There was a pass that should have been picked off last week and one against the Bills, and he had one that, an interception that was negated by penalty against the Bears. So it hasn't been maybe as clean as the numbers would indicate, but that's not to take anything away from him, because he just seems more comfortable in the pocket. He's trusting his receivers a little bit more. He's more willing to throw into some of those tight windows and trust that his offensive line is going to protect them. And look, I don't think we can dismiss the relationship that he has with Ben Johnson. I mean, Ben is, he's a bright, young offensive mind. He does some really, really creative things. And part of, what held Jared in the offense back last year was just, I don't know that it wasn't a case where he and Anthony Lynn didn't like each other necessarily. It just didn't seem like the trust was there on either side. And the case now is that Ben is giving Jared some input with the offense, and Jared seems to really buy into what Ben's doing, and together they really have this offense humming.
Hey, Dave, it's Matt. Thanks for coming on with us. I know you're busy. This is the first game in the Super Bowl era, I'm not sure if everyone knows this, that a 5-win team is favored over a 10-win team. The Lions are favored by 2. I saw that stat today.
Yeah, Fox Bet Live.
I mean, that's unbelievable. If Vegas knows, then the Lions, to me, are for real.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that stat. No, you're right. That's pretty wild to think like that. But look, I get it. I get why the Lions are favored in this game. I mean, the way they've played the last 5 weeks, they've certainly played like one of the best teams in the NFL. And you go back to this game when they traveled to Minnesota at the end of September, and the way they had the Vikings on the ropes for most of that game, it certainly, if you go back and just watch it from a football standpoint, right, that's a game the Lions should have won. And I know how good Minnesota's been. I think we all know how fortunate they've been in some ways too with some of their one-score victories. So I get why the Lions being at home and such a meaningful game for them are the team that's favored this week.
Hey, the beginning of the year we had you on. Well, we have you on many times, but you remember what Ryan said. Ryan said this team's going to win 10 games and make the playoffs. They actually.
I told him he was crazy.
Right? Let's pay him his respects now, Dave.
Yeah, right, for sure.
Can you imagine if that happens, though, Dave? I mean, can you imagine if that happens? I mean, Dan Orlovsky was on NFL Live yesterday saying that he believes the Lions are going to win 10 games and make the playoffs. I mean, they are for lack of a better way to say it, the sexiest story in the NFL right now.
Yeah, look, if that happens, I would feel bad for Maz and everyone over at Woodward Sports and probably everyone at Fox 2 as well, because I know how you'd hold that over their heads. But,
forever.
Yeah, forever, no doubt, right? You called it when no one else saw it coming. Yeah, I mean, they really, I think what it is, right, is the Lions are, because they've been beat down for so long and because, frankly, they have such a lovable coach in some ways, right? It's a team that's easy to root for,
yep.
and so people across the NFL can sort of look and say, man, it's sort of a heartwarming thing to see the Lions finally doing good and building it the right way, right? They got a lot of young guys, and, they sort of have battled adversity on their way up, to where they're back into playoff contention now. So there's just a lot of things, I think, to like about the story, and that's why I think there are so many people that are sort of pulling for this to happen for the Lions, across the league.
Talking to Dave Birkett, Lions beat reporter for the Detroit Free Press, freep.com, and, of course, on Twitter as well, at Dave Birkett. Dave, I just want to get back to Goff for a second. You talk about the turnovers. In the Lions' 5 wins, they have won the turnover battle. In their 7 losses, they've lost the turnover battle 5 times and tied it once. Only 1 time did they win the turnover battle and lose. Is it that simple? Is this league so close that one possession here and there, that is the difference in these games?
I mean, that's a huge part of it. And look, some of that is circumstance, right? When you're down and you're trailing, maybe you're taking more chances, and your quarterback's in more vulnerable situations. So some of those, I'm sure if you went back with a comb and went over them, some of those turnovers came when they were down and trying to rally. But yeah, that is such a huge part of and it's I mean, everyone knows it, right? So when people say it, you sort of roll your eyes like, all right, you got to win the turnover battle, right? We know what else is the key, but. Look, especially with a quarterback like Jared Goff, right, who struggled with turnovers early this season, who struggled with them for a large portion of last season. When he's playing well, that means taking care of the ball, and that means, trusting his offensive line that he's going to have the protection, staying in there and not leaving the pocket early or drifting too deep like we saw him doing early in the season, and that leads to some of those mistakes. So, when the Lions win the turnover battle, they don't put their defense that still needs some help in some bad situations. And that's a big reason why they've had success here over the last month.
Hey, Dave, let me give you the Lions cynic in me, because let's face it, that's what we are here in Detroit. This would be Lions' luck. They win, let's say, 9 games, and they don't make the playoffs. And now the freaking Rams get Baker Mayfield, and they start winning a few games. And not only does our season get ruined, but now our draft pick gets ruined. What's your thoughts on the Rams picking up Baker and Lions' luck in general?
Yeah, you're right. They were going to pick 10 and 15th or something, right? That's how it ends up. No, I mean, look, Baker didn't really do anything in Carolina, so I don't know. I don't know that he's.
But he's got McVay now.
Even though
he's got McVay.
You're right about that, and they're talking about him playing right away, right? And just the track record says he's going to be better than John Walford or whoever's playing over there in LA. So I'll be interested to see it. I think there are a couple winnable games left on the Rams schedule. And maybe there's enough pride in there, from having played in the Super Bowl last year that those guys, they're going to take this final month here serious. But I also know, man, like, it's a different thing when you go to the Super Bowl and now you're sort of looking at this like, we're not playing for anything. What do we have going on here? Like, I don't know. I still don't see a lot of wins in the Rams' future. So
I hope you're right.
I don't know that the Lions are making the playoffs. Winning 6 straight is tough to do in the NFL. It's only 2 teams have done it this year. But I guess I have more faith or think it's a higher probability that the Lions make the playoffs than I do the Rams all of a sudden get on some hot streak here and end up, finish the season with 6 wins.
I hope you're right. We were talking to Ari Meyerhoff yesterday about Pro Football Focus. I brought up Matthew Stafford, and I don't know. I've got this feeling that he might retire. I want to get your take on Matthew Stafford's future.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't obviously have a clue exactly what's going on with the spine, the injury that he's dealing with right now. I think that's an extremely serious thing. And anyone who knows Matt knows, he's always, family's always been important to him. Being in the community's been important to him. I think these are things that, he's certainly not a guy who, as much as he's about football, and as important as it is to him, I don't know that ultimately when, all is said and done, is that's how he's going to define himself as a person. I think there's more to him. So I guess I wouldn't put it past him, but I also know from talking to him for 12 years that football means a whole lot to him, and I don't think he's going to get rid of it easy. And I think I had asked him one time, you see these guys playing into their 40s now. This was a few years ago before Brady's at 45 now or whatever. How long do you want to play? And I seem to remember him saying, man, as long as I can, and so I don't anticipate that he would hang him up after the season unless that injury is that serious that it really leaves him no other option. I think ultimately he wants to keep playing this game, and the chance to win another ring and set himself up for to be in the Hall of Fame conversation and do some of those things. I think that will continue to be a draw for him too.
Hey, Dave, last one for you. I just want to ask you about the Lions defense. Aaron Glenn, really a turnaround. First 7 games, 32 points a game. Last 5 games, 19.8 points a game. Okudah, Joseph, Hutchinson, James Houston, Aleem McNeil, these young guys are really coming on and being developed. That feels a little bit different too, that these younger players are getting better as the season goes on.
Oh, I mean, look, the entire defense is young, right? First and second year players for the most part. I mean, obviously, Anzalonis and Deshaun Elliott in the back end, and you have some guys. But the key players, the guys that you really see taking some of those steps are exactly who you mentioned, right? Jeff Okudah, from where he was at the start of the season or training camp or what we thought he might be to sort of what he's become as a really good cornerback in the NFL. Malcolm Rodriguez and Kirby Joseph and those rookies. You mentioned Houston making plays. Aiden Hutchinson, even though maybe the sacks haven't been as consistently there as some people want, he's made some big-time interceptions, and he draws a lot of double teams, which helps other people up front. So I think the Lions have a good nucleus on that side of the ball. And, the reality is that you would expect those players to get better, right? And maybe that's part of this thing going forward. The other thing, though, too, Ryan, is, look, they did scale things back, right? Todd Walsh had talked about this the other week, that first and second downs, they made it less complicated, and that allowed players to play a little bit faster. And then they still, they were in better situations than on third downs, and they could still get after other teams on third downs. And now that they slowed it down, they've started to add more back to the mix. And so, I think it's a combination of the changes that were made, coming out of the bye to scheme and personnel and what they were doing, and the growth by some of those young players. I think that's really why this defense has taken off.
Dave, thanks so much for coming on with us, my man. We really appreciate it.
Yep, you got it. We'll talk to you guys again.
See you, Dave.
All right, on Twitter, at Dave Birkett, Lions beat reporter for the Detroit Free Press. Great stuff there. Subscribe to the Free Press. A lot of Dave stuff is right there for you.
Those rookies, man, like you were saying, they're playing out of their mind. They really are. And hats off to Brad Holmes and that Lions scouting staff. They've done a hell of a job so far.
And
no
the
question.
coaching staff, Lindsey. You've been in that business. You can have a kid with all the talent you want, right, but if you don't develop that talent, it's all for naught.
Absolutely. And I'm taking my hat off to them even more so because they made changes during the season, and to turn it around like that was truly amazing.
In the season,
yes,
right?
That's crazy.
What happens, no doubt about it. All right. Guys, you're going to hear from Dan Campbell. You'll hear from him next. Lots to get to. On a Thursday, we're talking Lions football plus Dan Orlovsky. What did
Lions
he say?
Playoff football.
Yes, playoffs. But first, a message from Chili Peppers Tanning.
Yes, sir, guys. You know it. It's 27 locations of Chili Peppers Tanning. More on the way to right here on Woodward. If you come and visit us, you can Go get a tan first or get one when you're done. How about it? And join the Pepper Club as well, because they will beat all competitors by $5 on unlimited tanning. Plus, you get the cleanest salons in the D. The hottest bulbs, the darkest tans, and the hottest deals right there at chilipepperstanning.com.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
I'm Dr. Jason Olafson, DC, the founder of the Custom Health Centers, and we've helped thousands of people learn how easy it is to lose weight and keep it off with our customized weight loss and body contouring programs.
With Custom Health, you don't feel hungry, you eat well. My name is Simeon Timbuk, and I've lost 71 pounds on the program.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Centron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings.
Official.
Yeah, they've combined all three of their delicious flavors into a limited edition 6-pack sampler box. You can try Centron's great tasting cranberry. I know that's
very
Braylon's,
great tasting.
Yeah, that's Braylon's favorite. I don't know if you know that, but also they've got classic, sugar-free, all-in-one pack. Pre-order your Centron 6-pack sampler box today at CentronWorld.com/Red Wings. Get energized with Centron. Get dope like Braylon. And remember, go Red Wings.
I think us losing, 5 in a row is why we're where we're at right now. So that's kind of how I look at it. Maybe we needed this to happen to get to where we're at right now at this point. I never thought about changing who I am because I knew that was right. And look, if it's not right, I'm going down that way because I believe in the way I'm going to be and what it's about, and what I believe in. I've just been around it too long to know what it's supposed to look like.
Dan Campbell talking about a couple of different things there. One about the team, and then two himself. Lindsey Hunter in for Braylon today and tomorrow. By the way, Lindsey, it's so funny. I was somewhere today, and somebody came up to me and said, "Who the hell was that guy that told Lindsey Hunter that Ben Wallace wasn't a Hall of Famer?" It's amazing. It's amazing that one clip. So many people have seen that one clip. Yes. He's like, was that guy just trying to get clicks or something like that?
No, he believes it.
No, he actually believes that. This guy.
Everybody's talking about that.
It is crazy.
That guy is Sam Flannel, by the way.
That guy is Sam Flannel. Right, that's so funny. I don't know why I was thinking about that just now, but it just came to me today and said that. I was like, oh, yeah, nut job.
Wait till Ben finds out.
Yeah, right. Lindsey, one of the things that Dan Campbell said, and you're a perfect guy to talk to about this. You've been in this coaching profession. You're more often than not, you're going to go down as a coach. You're going to get fired. Yeah. That's just how the game is.
You're hired to be fired.
You're hired to be fired. If you're going to get fired, don't you have to be yourself?
Absolutely.
You can't. And we learned a little bit of that during Hard Knocks. Lions linebacker coach Kelvin Shepard said when he was hired for this job, he's got the long locks, he's got the long hair, braided hair, and he thought when he got hired, he had to cut his hair off.
This ain't the Yankees.
Exactly, because he thought that's how a coach should look. And this was on Hard Knocks. And Dan Campbell says, what are you talking about? You're not cutting that hair. I hired you.
Right.
You be you.
Right.
And that's a kind of guy you want to work for, but that gives you some insight into Dan Campbell is very comfortable with who he is and how he's coaching, and I think that rubs off on his players.
Absolutely, we talked about that. We talked about gaining the trust of your guys, and the only way you do that is to be yourself, and for people to realize that you're true to your own character, and he is that. He's. Like I say, he's grown on me because he's a meathead coach. He's not one of the wonder boys and one of the geniuses.
No stats. Right,
But I think he's beloved now because of that very reason. He comes on, he doesn't give you any statistics, he doesn't give you any numbers. He tells you just like it is.
Bite your kneecaps.
We're playing better. We're flying to the ball. We're hitting people. That's what you love to hear.
You know what I loved about him? Well, you knew last year, right? And Lindsey, he's taking control. He said, if I'm going down, I'm going down my way. That's why he let his friend Anthony Lynn, he took the play calls away from him. Mm-hmm. That's a guy he pulled out of retirement.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what, it's just not working. And if I'm going to get canned, I'm going down my way. And he took over the play calls. Then he started to wean in Ben Johnson. And this year, at the beginning of the year, he didn't even name Ben Johnson the play caller, if you remember. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. But it's turned out that obviously Ben Johnson gets this team. He's made Jared Goff into the best version of himself. And Dan Campbell made a hard decision this year, letting Aubrey Pleasant go, another friend of his. But they were dead last, secondary. Now, like Ryan said, the defense has crawled up into the top 20.
I have thought about that, Maz, recently about Aubrey Pleasant. And I want, Dan Campbell, fires a friend, fires a coach that he hired, and all of a sudden they start playing better. And you wonder, would they still have played this well if he would have just hung on to him one more week?
We'll never know.
I know. And
never know.
I guess the human side of me feels bad that Aubrey Pleasant kind of took the fall on that. And again, if you just let it go one more week, does he bear the fruits of some of that labor,
the
too? The
good thing is Aubrey got hired right away.
Right.
Yeah,
in Green Bay.
Yeah.
But he felt like he had to make changes.
Yeah.
You lose 6 in a row, and people are calling for your head.
Seriously.
You got to say, hey, look, I got to change something.
If it ain't him, it's me.
Right, exactly. So I got to change something, and if we go down, we're going down the way that I felt in my heart that I had to do.
No doubt.
And that's what he did.
No doubt. We were talking with Dave Birkett just a moment ago about the Lions rookies, essentially. Kirby Joseph, Aiden Hutchinson, Josh Paschal, some of these guys that are really flying to the ball offensively as well. Let me tell you, here's Dan Campbell, I should say, about that rookie class.
It's good. It's a sign of growth. It's a sign of growth. It's a sign of you don't know how it's always going to work, but you draft these guys for a reason. That's credit to Brad and our scouting department and everybody. But you're hopeful, and you see something in them. You don't know how long it's going to take, but we've been fortunate. All those guys have played a hand and contributed for us and had some some big roles in production for us.
This team is playing so well right now because their young guys are playing so well. This is from the Detroit Lions. Below is a look at how the combined production of the Lions rookies compares to the rest of the NFL. The rookies are first in sacks, first in total pressures, first in quarterback hurries, second in interceptions. So you've got Kirby Joseph and Aiden Hutchinson there with 5 interceptions, second in tackles for loss, second in fumble recoveries, and second in forced fumbles. This is a class that is making plays. And when you're a younger team, hell, when you're any team,
right.
You want guys that are going to make plays for you, Lindsey, and these guys have come in and made plays.
You have to make plays. I want to give a shout-out to James Houston from Jackson State.
State,
baby! JSU, baby, he's doing it. Well, he has, what, three sacks?
Yeah. He's second in rookie sacks behind who? Aiden Hutchinson.
Right. Hey, my guy's doing it from JSU, baby.
Isn't that something?
Big time.
I'll tell you, man, think about that rookie class. And we compared it about a month ago. We talked about Seattle. They made that great draft. 6 of their guys from that rookie class, 5 of the 6 are starters for Seattle. And that's why they're where they're at. I mean, right. Gino's playing great, and he's been coached up well. Pete Carroll knows what he's doing. I mean, look at Russell Wilson. He left Pete Carroll's crib, and all of a sudden, He's one of the worst quarterbacks. He's 33rd, I think, in the NFL. And there's only 32 teams. So it just matters how you draft and how you make these players fit into your team. Dan Campbell and this Lion team got these young guys in. And that's what you want, man. Now Jameson Williams is going to get a crack, little by little, to get in and get comfortable. Even if they don't make the playoffs this year. What a hell of a run. And they're going to give us something to root for. Finally.
Yeah, you talk about that Lions offense, to get a guy like Jameson Williams back. I mean, once he gets his legs under him, and you could probably speak more to a guy coming off an injury when you actually get your legs back. But when he gets his legs under him, and this thing is going to go even further. What do you think some of the things that Jameson Williams mentally is thinking coming off an injury and getting into these games, Lindsey?
Well, just getting acclimated, of course, to the speed of the game. And he's an explosive player as well, but he's still going to have to catch up with the speed of the game, what he can and what he can't do, things that he still has to work on. All those things will be on his mind, but ultimately you have to just work through it. Because you can get in your own head. When you've been injured and you try to come back and you think you can do the same things, you're like, wait a minute, what's wrong? It just takes a little time.
Did you ever come back from an injury sooner than you should have, or even later than you might have because you just weren't sure you were ready?
I never came back later. I always came back sooner.
Right, exactly.
and
because you want to play.
You want to play, and sometimes you come back sooner and you're like, man, what is wrong? But it takes a little time, and you recognize that, and you get back to your normal self.
I can't let it go by. He's wearing that San Francisco 49ers. That's his team, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's his team. And Jimmy G, man, is he going to be ready? Is he not going to be ready?
We got Purdy. We got Purdy.
He loves Purdy. Guys, coming up next, because it's a Lions-related topic, I want to do my top 10 Thursday.
All
right.
right.
I want to do my top 10 Thursday because it is a Lions-related topic. We are going to look at the last 10 big Lions home games this late in the season, and I'll be honest with you.
Only at Ford Field or at the Silverdome?
At Ford Field.
Ooh, there's 10?
Listen.
You got 10?
You got to wait to see how far back we have to go, and I'll show you coming up. But first, the message.
I was going back to 97, 98.
From Guardian Alarm. They're your local security experts and have been over the last 90 years. When you see that black and yellow sign out in front of your house, tells the bad guys one thing.
Stay out.
Whether you are at home or on the road, they're 24/7 local monitoring. Make sure what is important to you stays safe. Call this number right here, 1-800-STAY-OUT. That number again, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Call them today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Woodward.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff-A Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991? Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Man, oh man, do I wish we were still at Big Boy.
Oh, dude.
Oh, my.
That big jit. Let me tell you something. You do your read, and then I got to say something.
Lindsey had the fish and chips. That looked damn good.
Did I tell you about this Big Jim situation?
We got it wrong. We thought it was just a bigger version of the Slim Jim.
I thought it was a double Slim Jim was the Big Jim.
But it's not.
It is a combined Slim Jim on a big boy.
When we saw that thing coming, we were like, oh my God.
It might be the greatest sandwich ever created. It might be.
I gotta try it.
That's why you
guys gotta get to Big Boy for a limited time only. The all-new loaded fries and all-new burgers, including the Big Jim. You just heard Ryan. And the loaded fries, man. Baked potato fries, nacho cheese fries, chili cheese fries. I dipped into Sam Flato's chili cheese fries yesterday for a little taste. I like the patty melt myself, and those onion rings are to die for. Get to Big Boy and satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
Well, I mean, look, I know this. Ford Field it should be a place that we can have a home field advantage. Just the nature of our fans and how loud it can get in there, and just the environment in general. I mean, I just know it can be one of those rare places. You know, I think there's a few of these special stadiums you go to throughout the league. There's not a lot of them, but there are some, and they're special. And I think this place can be that. But there again, it's on us to continue that. You know, we've won a couple here at home, and so this is another chance to just deliver for them.
That was Dan Campbell talking about, obviously, Ford Field and the Lions crowd and his expectation for what it can be this week against the Minnesota Vikings. Ryan Ermanni, Lindsey Hunter in for Braylon today. Tom Mazawey. We got Fletch and JB in the house as well. WoodwardSports.com, WoodwardSports.com chat. Thanks for everybody in there. And, of course, simulcasting on Fox2Detroit.com and the Fox 2 News app. Thanks to everybody watching on those platforms. Lindsey, you have played professional sports in this town, obviously as a member of the Detroit Pistons. When the fan support was second to none. I mean, it was sellout after sellout. But at the same time, you know, and if you play for the Tigers, you know, and if you play for the Red Wings, you know, if the Lions could ever do anything, this town would go nuts.
Oh, it would be pandemonium.
Yeah.
I mean, just the electricity you feel in the fans now that I argue with every day. It's amazing. And I'm like, you guys aren't in the playoffs, but they feel like they are, you know, and if they can somehow, you know, keep it going, yeah, the town's going to go nuts.
It's funny you say that because they feel like they are at 5-7.
No,
okay?
every fan I talk to say, "Oh, we're running the table," and I'm like, "What?"
You talking about this? Where did this confidence come from?
God bless us.
Where did this confidence come from?
God,
from
please
Lions
bless us.
fan.
Bless
right?
us. We don't ask for much.
Give me the Orlovsky. Let me just show you that this confidence is out there. Orlovsky says yesterday on NFL Live on ESPN, man, the next 2 weeks for the Lions are absolutely massive. Minnesota and at the Jets. Win both and you're in the playoffs. Wow. And then he went on to say, I think they're going to run the table. He must have seen me say that on Monday because that clip went pretty wild. But look, this week at Ford Field is massive. And it's massive for a couple of reasons. One, because in the 2022 season, they still are alive for a playoff.
Right.
And two, because there haven't been that many big games this late in the season at Ford Field. The history of this building is not, you know, buildings are made in championship moments.
Right.
The Palace was beloved because of all the championships, the runs, the playoff games, those masterful moments. Joe Louis Arena was made because of the championships and the playoffs and all of those moments. Ford Field has been around for 22 years. They have never seen a playoff game. The Lions have never hosted a playoff game at Ford Field. The building has been open for over 20 years. So when you see weeks like this against the Minnesota Vikings, when you're only 5-7, where it will be a playoff atmosphere, it is almost a place you gotta be this week, or at least be downtown or want a part of it. So I went back this morning and I looked at when the last time, the biggest games at Ford Field over the last decade plus, when the Lions were at 500 or better playing at home, and what happened in that game? So the biggest games at Ford Field. Here we go. We're going to just go to work backwards.
This is Braylon's Top 10.
This
brought
is
to you
Top
by
10
Ryan.
Thursday. In 2011, 2011, Week 16 versus San Diego clinched a playoff berth. They won that game. Give me some music, JB. Hit the music, baby. This is very exciting. And then 3 years later, in 2014, you had to wait 3 years for a big game. 2014, Week 15 against Minnesota. They won that one as well. There was a 3-week stretch in 2014, their best season really in a long time. Yep. They should have beaten the Dallas Cowboys that year. But in 2014, Week 13, Week 14, Week 15, 3 straight home games where they had a winning record. The Lions ran the table, won all of those games. They lost the final week on the road that season to preclude them from winning the division.
That was against who?
Green Bay.
Against what the quarterback? What was that quarterback? Matt Flynn.
Matt Flynn.
Matt Flynn.
Wow. So they lost to Matt Flynn in week 16 that week. But anyway, so 3 games in 2014. Then in 2016, it was essentially a playoff game at Ford Field. It was the final week of the regular season, Week 17 against Green Bay, with the division and a playoff on the line, and they lose out of the playoff. Or excuse me, no, they lost the division in Week 17 against the Packers in that game, so they lost. And then in 2017. Here's the next 5. 2017, Week 15 versus the Chicago Bears. They won that game to go to 8-6, but lost at Cincy the next week. They finished 9-7 and out of the playoffs. That
was the end of Jim Caldwell.
So the last game, I want to make, if you go back and check me on this, in 2017, they did win their final regular season game at home to get to 9-7, but it wasn't a big game because the playoffs had already been decided. 10-6 was the last playoff berth at that time, so that game didn't matter. That final week of the regular season, 2017. In Week 8, in 2018. Now, keep in mind, I'm talking about Week 8. I'm not talking about Week 14. Okay? Right. The Lions were 3-3.
Yeah.
This is how bad the Lions have been. You have to go from essentially 2022 to 2017. 5 years before the Lions had a game this late in the regular season that meant something. So in 2018 and in 2020, they were both 3-3 in those years in Week 8, ironically enough. They lost to Indy and Seattle in subsequent years in those games. And look, 2022 against the Bills.
Oh, yeah.
That was a really big game.
That was the chance.
National television. They were 4-7 at the time. They were 4-7. Or no, they were 4-6.
Yeah.
They were 4-6 at the time. They lost to the Bills. And the number one latest important game, Week 12, against the Minnesota Vikings this week.
That's really digging deep, and that just shows you how bad they've been in this building.
It's been pretty bad.
Really bad.
Bad. When you come out and you say why fans are so excited about this game at 5-7, you just don't have much to cheer about, man. You just don't have much to cheer about. 10 games, and honestly, these 2 games in 2022 shouldn't even count, really, because you're under 500. They should, based on the principles that I was grading the rest of the
you want them at
games
500.
on, 500 or better this late in the season.
Right.
Those 2 games this week against the Vikings and the Bills shouldn't even count.
But they count to us.
Right.
Because they're Lion-esque records.
So, and honestly, if you take out 2020 and 2018, where the Lions were 3-3, okay, Week 8, the Lions have played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games this late in the season where they have been at 500 or better. 6 games in the last decade where they have been 500 or better.
That's tough.
That is miserable.
That's horrendous. And that's why we've been rebuilding since 1957. That's the slogan. I can't wait till it's over.
That's why I respect you Lions fans, because you guys never jump ship. And every year you guys say, hey, man, we're going to win it this year.
Thank you, sir. May we have another.
I mean, you want it so bad. You want it so bad, right? I do take solace in the fact that guys that, do this stuff a lot better than I do, like Dan Orlovsky. The way he watches the NFL is a little bit differently than how I watch the NFL. He can pick up on schemes and do all this.
He was a quarterback,
right? That's what I'm talking about.
Stepped out of the end zone.
That's what I'm talking about. But it does feel like it gives you. It does feel like it. And who's the guy that always breaks down those running plays? Brian Balding.
Yeah, Baldy.
He did it again this week. The offensive line.
He loves those Lions. Right. He loves that line.
When you see these guys that really understand scheme and really understand the game within the game and who's doing what out there and who's blocking who and who's ready to take on the next guy, it feels like it gives your own position validity.
Right.
When somebody like that who knows the game a little bit better than I do.
It makes me feel good. When the Lions have always been talked about. Back in the old days when Chris Berman was doing primetime and he would get to a Lions game and the Lions, and he'd be like, Lions? Something like that.
Right.
Lions? And the whole story about Wayne Fonts and Rasputin. I mean, anytime they talk about the Lions makes me happy. Pat McAfee show, they got the kid Evan on there that is a Lions fan now and gives them national publicity. That Pat McAfee show talks about Dan Campbell and the Lions. I got to take my hat off to him. And thank you for mentioning the team that really no one give a damn about. The NFL draft comes, we know the deal. When the Lions pick us up, they show you the pick and they go to a commercial. That's just the way it is. That's the way it's always been.
Because normally they're going to pick a tight end.
Exactly. Or a guy like Jelani Tavai that didn't have any tape on. Besides that, this is a new Lions regime. And I know we always say, this is our year. But this is our time now. I truly believe this team is turning the corner.
I just wish you guys wouldn't say that all the time, because it reminds me of Cowboy fans. Because every year the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. Every year.
That's all right.
That's not
all right. What a great
rivalry.
And
they probably feel like that this year, too.
They feel like that every year. They say it every single time.
How about that Cowboy?
So funny, man. So funny. Guys, we're going to take a break. Come right back. When we do, we're going to talk to Anthony Broome, who covers Michigan for the Wolverine on 3 on 3 Sports. We'll do that next. Cade McNamara making news for his appearance on a podcast. We'll ask Anthony about that. But first, a message from Custom Health Centers. Get your customized approach to weight loss. Think of all the ways that weight affects your health, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Custom Health Centers has over 20,000 success stories. I like to believe that I'm one of them.
You look great,
Down
man.
14 pounds and staying strong.
14 and a half.
Well, that's 6 pounds, man, is getting to me. But we are working towards it. I got 6 pounds to go. I've been stuck on 6 for a while, but I'm going to get there. Believe you me.
Well, we got to keep you away from Big Boy.
Well,
then.
the holidays don't.
Yeah.
The holidays are really tough. But I'll tell you this much, too. Even though it's the holiday season and there's parties and there's booze and there's food, to even maintain that weight loss that I have, I think is a big success. And not gain anything over Thanksgiving or in December right now. So I'll take it. Start losing weight today. Call Dr. Jason, Custom Health, at 844-789-THIN. 844-789-THIN.
Thin to win.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Looking to buy or sell your home? Whether you're a player or a fan, helping you buy, sell, or invest is Michael Phillips' top priority. Being in the game for 23 years makes Mike the #1 option for anyone.
Numero uno.
Yes, that's right. If you have real estate needs, call Michael Phillips at 313-403-0011. Once again, that's 313-403-0011. Mike Phillips, game on. But don't go anywhere, because I got to tell you about the Monroe Street Midway.
Oh, JB, tell me all about it.
Oh, look. The Monroe Street Midway has swapped out the roller skates, the basketball courts, the mini golf for the giant Arctic slide, the winter bumper cars, and, of course, that indoor arcade.
Oh, my gosh. My kids are going to spend all the time there.
It's going to be a fun weekend. Trust me. With free entry into the site, enjoy a variety of new activities aimed to create an amazing winter experience for everyone. Like, check out Puck Putt and go for a goal in one. That's right. Grab a hockey stick and shoot the puck into each of the nets. The 9-part course that they have out there, brought to you by Come Play Detroit, which is also free. Or you know what? Why don't you warm up with some toasty treats down there?
Toasty treats?
Yeah.
They got hot chocolate?
No, they got hot chocolate. They're serving up burgers, pierogies.
Are we doing a show from down there?
We are.
Actually, we are. Chicken sandwiches, mac and cheese bites, plus they also have gluten-free and vegan options as well too. So you got to definitely check those out. But now look, you didn't hear it from me, but
don't say it then.
Someone told me Santa is going to be down there.
Right.
Keep that between you and me. Yeah, keep that between you and me. Santa may be down there. But coming soon is the Woodward Sports Winter Olympics. You'll be able to compete with guys like Darren McCarty, Braylon Edwards, Adam Baydoun, the one and only Ryan Ermanni.
What about
himself.
Lindsey Hunter?
Lindsey, if you want to come down, we are more than happy to have you down too. You can come and hang out with us. Maz, are you going to be competing too?
Of course.
All right, and can't forget about the heavyweights. Oh, can't forget about the heavyweights as well too. You know they're going to be down there, and so is the rest of the Woodward Street family. So come check us out. Check it out at deckedoutdetroit.com for all your winter fun and for more information.
It's so great. We certainly appreciate Monroe Street Midway and Rocket for being a part of that. It's such a great place to be. We'll be down there pretty soon as well. I want to bring in Anthony Broome, covers Michigan football and basketball and everything Michigan related on the Wolverine on 3 and on 3 Sports. Anthony, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, Ant.
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me back, guys.
Absolutely. One of the first guys I thought of, Anthony, because I'll tell you, I feel like I have had the back of Cade McNamara for a long time. And I see this podcast and I listen to it and I felt a certain kind of way about it, not naming J.J. McCarthy by name and calling him the other guy and really kicking Jim Harbaugh on the way out and all that stuff. Rubbed me the wrong way. How should I feel about it?
I mean, how you feel is ultimately how you feel about it, but it was a weird... Again, I'm not surprised because I think the natural culmination of what that saga was going to be is that the guy that lost the job was going to have hurt feelings and have sour grapes and probably wind up transferring. And, it's unfortunate for Cade that he was injured on the way out, and certainly he seems to be questioning how an injury he had last year was handled. But I'm just kind of tired of it all, just in terms of his situation, Eric All's situation. Transfers are personal. Transfers are emotional. I think from a fan perspective, I think all you can really do is just kind of wish them well and hope they find what they're looking for in their next stop. But there's no doubt about it. Like, Cade McNamara didn't do anything to lose his job. Michigan went with the better player. It was made complicated by the fact that his teammates voted him a captain and things like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, everything that's happening now, the thing that strikes me the most, and not to go on too much of a rant about it, is that he says he doesn't want to go be a game manager anymore, but Iowa has almost specifically been a quarterback school full of game managers over the years. So good luck, more power to you. Maybe Michigan sees you in Indy next year, but yeah, it's you can kind of take the good of what he did, put it in a box and where it belongs, and also take the feelings of kind of being a bit salty about it and put that where it belongs to.
Anthony, salty aside, and I agree with you about that, but I do feel it's worth exploring just one aspect of this. That's an explosive charge to say that the University of Michigan pretty much forced him to play on an injury. They're going to have to answer that question at some point. Jim Harbaugh is going to have to answer that question at some point.
He injured it against Michigan State.
Yeah, and then quote-unquote forced him to play or whatever. The medical staff at Michigan is going to have to probably answer a question about that, or at least through Jim Harbaugh. What do you make of that? That's
negligence.
There's stuff we've heard about that before. I mean, I remember Benjamin St. Juste's situation back in, I think it was 2018, where there was questions about if he would be medically cleared coming off of an injury. He winds up transferring to Minnesota, and he's playing in the NFL now. There's a similar concern coming out of Eric All's camp about how his back injury was handled. And I think those questions are fair. I mean, this isn't an isolated incident by any means. On the same token, I'll say I don't know that anyone was forcing anyone to play through anything. J.J. McCarthy had a shoulder injury that he missed all of spring football with, and he didn't. He elected not to get surgery. He chose treatment, and I think there were people at Michigan that thought he should get the surgery and get it, dealt with so they can move forward with it. So, yeah, I mean, I think the questions about the medical staff are. I'll be honest, I don't know enough about that side of it, but I do think questions of it are warranted because this isn't an isolated incident, and this is something we've heard of with a couple guys now, even in this group. So. Yeah, I think it's fair to question that, and we'll see what ultimately comes of that.
Hey, Ant, while we're on the off-the-field kind of stuff, I would say I want to bring up Mazi Smith, and I just want to get your take on from the beginning till today when you hear that he pleaded guilty to a lesser charge and they're going to move on. What's your take on the whole, how did Michigan handle it, and how did he handle it?
Yeah, I think that obviously, the immediate thing that comes to mind is that there's a section of the other fan base that has taken it as a one-to-one comparison to how their thing was dealt with. And I think when it comes to the prosecutor, again, it's something else that it's fair to question the handling of both of those things. From Mazi Smith's perspective, I think that obviously it was stupid on his part. He's a team captain. You're supposed to be a guy that sets an example, and gun owners responsible gun owners take that stuff extremely, extremely seriously in terms of following all the rules to a T. He didn't have his driver's license on him. There was, he had the concealed weapon, obviously, without the proper documentation. In terms of Michigan's handling, I really do think that they could have been more proactive with it in that, listen, even if you think that there might be charges that get pled down or not charges at all, I think it's a kind of a bad look to let that guy get on the bus for that game at Indiana. You could, this could have easily been, put away and put where it needed to be by just saying, listen, we had Mazi Smith had a situation yesterday. We're looking to gather more details, gather more evidence. I mean, he got on a bus or got on a plane 5 hours after he was pulled over, and that's a bad look. I don't know how else to put it. In terms of how. Again, 1 game suspension, 2 game suspension. I don't think this was a thing where, you ruin the guy's life over it and you kick him off the team or suspend him the rest of the season. But I do think it was there was a little too much. Don't let the cover. Not saying there was a cover up, but don't let your response to it be worse than what the offense was in the first place. So that's the long and short of how I feel about it.
Talking to Anthony Broome, covers Michigan for the Wolverine on 3. Anthony, there is a football game to be played later this month. Michigan in the college football playoff. How is this year different from last? Will Jim Harbaugh prepare differently this year than he did last year. There's that aspect. I feel like
he ain't playing a pro team either.
I feel like the layoff hurt Michigan last year. I feel like it helps them this year a little bit. Where are you with all that?
I totally agree with you, especially from the standpoint of now you have time to get guys like Mike Morris healthy and Donovan Edwards, who had a broken bone in his hand, healthy, and some other guys who were banged up over the course of a season. I think that last year's lead up to the playoff was just such an emotional it was just such a release in terms of they finally beat Ohio State. They finally won a Big Ten championship. And J.J. McCarthy told us as much the other day where there was an aspect of them where it did kind of feel like they were just kind of happy to be there and see what happens. Now, they went up against a Georgia team that I think when you look at how good they were defensively, especially up front, we're going to be talking about the type of guys they sent to the NFL in the same vein that we talk about that LSU offense with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and all those guys. I mean, it's one of the most talented defenses we've ever seen. Michigan, I think they are a beneficiary this year of the fact that you're going to have time to get your guys a little bit healthier, but also they expect to be there, and they have bigger goals this year. TCU is a team that's not what that Georgia team was last year. I think Michigan matches up fairly well on paper. I don't get the sense this is a group that it's going to be a month-long party like it sort of was last year. And that's not to say they didn't take it seriously. They just got the snot beat out of them by a team that was just leagues ahead of them. I don't think anyone in this playoff is leagues ahead of them. I think if they wind up playing Georgia, that's still probably a game Georgia wins 6 or 7 times out of 10 in terms of this year's group. But they have the goods to do it this year. And the way that they've carried themselves week to week and handling their business has been impressive. It's been, and especially the second half adjustments and the way they've responded in these games. I've never seen anything like it. So I think they will be more ready, and they have a chance to really kind of close this thing out.
I hate to look past TCU because that is a good football team over there, and Michigan's going to have to earn that win to beat them. But I do expect them to win that football game, and if they do, you've got Georgia or Ohio State on the other side. There is a part of me that wants the Buckeyes once again. How would that feel? What would that be like, a Michigan-Ohio State college football national championship? I mean, we've seen Georgia and Alabama, but man, Michigan-OSU feels pretty good to me.
I don't know that we've ever seen anything to that level in this type of game. Right. I know we've seen Georgia and Alabama play. We've seen LSU and Alabama play. I mean, this is the greatest rivalry in college sports, and to have that materialize potentially in a national championship game is, I mean, I don't know if there's ever been a bigger game that would have been played in this sport. And there, my post-game co-host said this last week when we were talking. Ryan Van Bergen, former Wolverine, said, I'd love to see Ohio State because you know what they are. We know what they are. That performance they put up against Michigan was, again, I know it kind of got away from them late, but that was kind of in their DNA throughout the year. Notre Dame had given them trouble. Northwestern had given them trouble. Penn State had given them trouble. If Michigan and Ohio State play again, I know for a fact there are people in that building that would welcome that. There were people in the building that were hoping they'd get them in the semifinals. So for Michigan, I think it's twofold. You either get a chance to play against a rival that you're kind of in their heads right now and you match up pretty well against, or you get to play a Georgia team that you lost to in the Orange Bowl last year. And win or lose, you at least get to see how much more narrow that gap is compared to that game last year. So Michigan, if you're able to take care of your business, I don't think I think they'd probably prefer to see Ohio State, but there's plenty to get up for in both of those matchups. But I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around the fact that those two rivals could play. It's going to be in LA. The Big Ten will have a stronghold in LA 2 years from now, and then ESPN has to televise it all. It's kind of juicy when you look at it.
Hey, last one from me, Ed, on Ohio State and how they got in to the final. I mean, they sat on their rear ends and they got in with a lot of luck. But I want to ask you, I thought they were going to be really tough getting another chance to get in here, but I thought they'd have Jackson Smith and Jigba and their running back and a couple of other guys back on the team. But now that he says, I'm out of here, I'm going to go pro, can you expect anything different from Ryan Day and Ohio State if they do move forward? Can you expect anything different from them against Georgia? That spread is 6 points only.
They have to play their absolute best football game to give Georgia a game. I think that for all this talk about Michigan and Ohio State being on this collision course again, it's not a collision course. I mean, Ohio State kind of got into the playoff like you let the air out of a whoopee cushion, right? They're just kind of there because they're left behind. And no disrespect to them, I think they have the talent to win that game, but Georgia's cut from a different cloth that we've seen in games against, they put on the SEC championship game. They were on cruise control a bit, but we saw in games against Tennessee, they were able to put their boot on their throat and kind of, take it to that next level. And that's what I expect to see in that game, the other semifinal game. But like I said, I would caution Buckeye fans against looking past Georgia because that could end very badly for them.
Anthony, thanks so much for doing this, my friend. So much to talk about over the next couple of weeks. Hope to do it again soon, my friend.
Of course. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, you got to check Anthony out at the Wolverine on 3 and on 3 Sports. Thanks so much for that. I'm so excited about this game, but it does feel, and we talked about this last year, Lindsey.
Feels far away.
This layoff feels forever, man. Give me the college football playoff. I'm ready to start this week, next week, whenever you want to play.
Yeah, it does feel a little too far away. But you guys, you think Ohio State has a chance against Georgia?
I don't. I
was just checking.
Yeah, Braylon picks them.
I think
Braylon thinks they're going to win.
I think Georgia.
I kind of have a hunch they could win.
I think Georgia is gonna blow them out, flat out throw up 50 on them.
Just watching Ohio State all season, just watching how they play, I thought their passing game would be better. I kind of just watched how they always go out to the flats, and I just don't like
when people tell you who they are. Believe them.
Exactly.
And I think Ohio State has shown us who they are when they're going up against good, solid, tough, elite programs. They can't win those games anymore. They won't win those games anymore. It's one of the reasons why I want to see them again.
Well, they're going to reload, though. They're going to reload after this year.
We'll see. This guy is not Urban Meyer. Ryan Day is not Urban Meyer.
He's not Urban Meyer.
He is not Urban Meyer. So we'll see.
He was going on third, right?
Guys, we got Paul Allen, Vikings longtime radio voice. He is going to join us in about a little less than 10 minutes from now. Mel Kiper making news today that I just cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. I refuse to believe it. We'll let you know what that is. But first, a message from Moneyball.
That's right. Check out Moneyball Sportswear. It's your one-stop shop. Whether you want the latest look in athletic apparel or you just need some new uniforms for your team, Moneyball has it all. Stop in at Moneyball Showroom in Southfield and experience the only way to ball. Or visit MoneyballSportswear.com. Moneyball, the only way to ball.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward in Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff-A Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway. all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
With the holiday season here, Swiss Insurance wants to remind you to insure those gifts of jewelry and collectibles. In the last 2 weeks, Swiss has saved their clients an average of 26% on their insurance premiums while increasing coverage. That's a lot of money to free up for this holiday season, if you know what I mean.
A lot of money,
yes,
JB. Lots.
Always remember, happy holidays from Swiss Insurance, and also, go Pistons.
Go Pistons. We'll talk a little Pistons basketball coming up in just a little bit. Paul Allen, longtime radio voice of the Minnesota Vikings, will join us in less than 10 minutes. But first, we're going to go around the NFL and get some news and notes with Tom Mazawey.
All right, let's start off with a guy that's declaring for the NFL draft, none other than UK quarterback Will Levis. Let me show you a little bit about Will Levis. Did you know he puts mayonnaise in his coffee, guys?
What? That's ridiculous.
Check this out.
Will Levis, quarterback at the University of Kentucky, and I have been known to put mayonnaise in my coffee sometimes.
Oh, you get this.
No! God, please, no! No!
Oh, Will.
Yes, that could be the first quarterback taken in the NFL draft because Mel Kiper, none other than the great Mel Kiper, says he is the best quarterback to come out of this year's class. Ryan?
I am disgusted by this. And I have talked about Will Levis all year long. I don't know what he's seeing. And if you pick Will Levis, if you pick him in the top 8 of the NFL draft, hell, if you pick him in the top 15 of the NFL draft, you will be fired within 2 years.
Don't say that.
I'm the general manager that picks Will Levis in the top 15 of the NFL draft will be fired within 2 years.
Well, Kiper has him at 1.
I don't know what he's watching, because if you are that good in the NFL, you would at least be a little good in college. He has been terrible at Kentucky. 6 points the offense scored against Georgia. 6 points the Kentucky offense scored at Tennessee. 19 points the team scored against Ole Miss. They did not score 30 points one time in conference play.
But Ryan, that's the SEC.
He's the number 1 quarterback in the draft. I would be fine with it if you wouldn't tell me he's the number 1 quarterback in the draft.
Or maybe they didn't have the supporting cast around him to help him.
If you're the number 1 quarterback in the draft, you got to make everybody better around you to the point where at least your offense is at least a little good.
Yeah, he has him ranked ahead of the kid Bryce Young at Alabama. He has him ahead of all the guys that were.
C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, he has him ahead of everybody. He says because of his size, laser-like arm strength. I mean, hey.
He's the old prototypical.
There you go. That's what it is.
Oh, my gosh. It is. I just don't understand it.
Listen. I think I'd be happy with if the Lions took him in the second round, if they could, or the second pick.
But if he's the top quarterback of the draft, you know that there's an NFL general manager out there that's going to be like, oh, we better go get Will Evans.
You know, if you remember Atlanta last year, they didn't know what the heck was going to happen. So they went out and they got drafted Cincinnati's Desmond Ridder. If you remember him, he started against the Lions. Him and Marcus Mariota played against the Lions in the preseason. And then he got hurt, I think, week 1. It might have been week 1 that Ridder got hurt, or last week of the preseason. Guess what? He is starting this week for the Falcons.
Got to.
Yep, they are. They're just going to, hey.
What are they, 5-8?
Time.
Season's over.
They played hard all year.
Yeah.
Arthur Smith got the best out of that team, and now he hands the keys off to Desmond Ridder. See what the kid's got.
at a certain point, and I think this is the right week to make that move.
I do too.
Marcus Mariota has played pretty darn good football for Atlanta, but you drafted Desmond Ridder for a reason. You drafted him to be the future quarterback of your organization, and you at least have to see, now that you're not playing for a playoff berth, Marcus Mariota got to start while you were alive for a playoff berth. Playoffs are now a thing of the past. Let the young kid play. That's how I feel about it.
Well, the NFL has changed, too, because now quarterbacks don't sit like they used to.
Right.
You know, people used to draft quarterbacks and sit them for a couple of years behind a veteran. Now you're thrusted into playing right away because they want to know right away, is this the guy?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I even think Mahomes sat for a year, right? Patrick Mahomes sat for a year.
Yeah, he sat behind Alex Smith.
Yeah, so, you know, they did it the right way, but everybody else is thrusting these guys right into the fire.
Can you imagine if, the Chicago Bears, just go back to that. The Chicago Bears took Mitchell Trubisky.
Yes.
Over Patrick Mahomes. Hell, the Cleveland Browns took Baker Mayfield over Patrick Mahomes. That's just that gets you fired, right? I mean, that's what how you take players like that, you get fired.
But think about this: what the last surefire number one quarterback was Andrew Luck.
Mm-hmm.
After Andrew Luck, I don't remember what guy was a surefire number one pick.
Kind of like a Eli Manning or Eli Manning type player.
But even Eli Manning,
Peyton Manning was a surefire number one.
Yeah, those guys.
But yeah, I mean Andrew Luck was that surefire last one.
Right.
All right, guys, we're going to take a break. Come right back. What do we do? Paul Allen will join us. Longtime radio voice of the Minnesota Vikings.
This guy could call a game.
Oh my gosh, and it's so great, very entertaining. We absolutely love it. Going to ask him about that Buffalo Bills game.
Oh man,
the ending of that Buffalo Bills game was as entertaining as we've ever seen. But first, a message from SMA.
Yes, that's right. The sports marketing agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com.
Yeah, I guess some of these guys.
Woodward Sports love wearing clothes. Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your number one resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Hey, Woodward Sports loves lobster. What better way to get you fixed than Cousins Maine Lobster? 2 trucks rolling around Detroit. You can get the best lobster rolls, lobster tots, and lobster tacos to power you through today. Go to cousinsmainelobster.com right now to find out that truck schedule.
Very excited to talk to this guy. Welcome back, woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com, and the Fox 2 News app. We certainly appreciate you guys tuning in. However you consume Woodward Sports, we thank you for doing so. Paul Allen, longtime Vikings radio voice, K-fan host as well. You can follow him on Twitter. PA on the mic joins us now. Paul, thanks so much for the time.
Gentlemen, God bless, and I have a couple of pieces of reverence that I would like to share.
Please.
Before we chat about the game. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
First and foremost, to Detroit Lions play-by-play voice Dan Miller, somebody I would consider a friend. We've called games nearly about the same amount of time, and I have so much respect for Dan and just how he. And I don't even know if he ever joined your station. Shoot, maybe he works for a competitor.
No, weekly.
Okay, yeah, Dan.
Weekly.
Dan, weekly, right on. Now, is that WEAKLY or EE?
EE. Well, it depends what year we're talking about Lions football.
Yeah, and I love Dan. He was on my show yesterday. He is a phenomenal play-by-play voice. And indeed, rise up, Ford Field, rise up. And secondly, Lindsey Hunter, 17 years in the NBA, my man. I work National Football League, but I'm an NBA fan, and I live in the state of hockey. Having moved here from Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles more than 20 years ago. It's the state of hockey, but I love the NBA. Very familiar with your career, and God bless you, man. You had a fantastic career.
Thanks, Paul. God bless you, too.
That's awesome stuff.
Paul, you're one of my favorites. I love listening to you, and now we get to watch you. But thanks to Twitter and all the good stuff. What a great game that Buffalo Bills-Vikings game was. I never saw a game like that in my life. Matter of fact, I still have it on my DVR. I'm not erasing that game. I love watching. I probably watched it 10 times. But tell me what was going through your head that day.
Well, it's I've been conditioned this year.
That's right.
To never think we can lose, and because we play badly in patches of games, and it looks like it's going to be negative, and then like the Lions game week 3. That's a perfect example. Yep. I mean, we're down 10 points, middle of the fourth quarter, and it takes A, B, and C to connect, and now all of a sudden, Ypsilanti, Michigan native KJ Osborne is walking off on the Lions. So we've had several moments like that this year. So now, like last year, we lost 8 games by 1 score, and it completely went the other way. So that wasn't the case last year. It's like with this point spread thing, man, that everybody's hitting me with. Last week, the Vikings in the look-ahead line were 3-point favorites over the Lions, and now they're 2.5 to 1.5 point underdogs. So what changed that? I don't care. The Lions are on fire. Goff is on fire. The defense all of a sudden is giving up like 19 points a game the last 5, something like that. Best in the NFL. Well, I respect that. And the Lions are my second favorite team because Darrell Bevel is a super close friend of mine. Likewise for Todd Downing, a couple of former offensive coordinators. And therefore I was pulling for the Lions because of them. And then now with Dan Miller, now the Lions low-key are my second favorite team. So I want nothing but good things to happen for them. I was like last year, man, I knew we weren't going to the playoffs. The situation was negative. We couldn't win any close games. And Amon-Ra St. Brown walks off on us back left to the end zone on Cam Dantzler by the tunnel. And I wasn't as upset as some other people were. And, I told a very close friend of mine, well, let's be realistic here. They hadn't won a freaking game in 364 days, and their fans hadn't seen a victory because of the disease pandemic in close to 2 years, and I'm supposed to not be happy for that? Are you kidding me? Well, I mean, let's see the forest for the trees here.
Hey.
So I understand what's happened with the point spread and everything, but to that Buffalo question, boy, I just went on a weird ass diatribe.
Oh man, no, that's fantastic.
With that Buffalo game, I'm conditioned to think we're never going to lose, and even though we've gotten killed by Dallas and killed by Philly, so we're a 98% loser when Josh Allen drops the ball at the goal line, so that just the whole thing, the whole thing was so emotional. We always have a camera in our booth. When we win at Vikings on Twitter or Vikings.com, there's always a touchdown call that pops usually Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday for social media. But this time there were so many different things. The Zach Boyce, who runs the social media site for the Vikings, he decided to put together 4 or 5 things over 2 minutes, and people seemed to like it. It caught fire. That's who I am and how I call games all the time, whether you like it or not. Can't say that I've ever crossed my arms and said, "You lucky suckers." I can't say that I've ever done that. But that's who I am and how I call a game. Just ask Dan, and that was times 10.
That is so awesome, and we watch that call a million times over here too, because we haven't had a lot of good football over here, so it's exciting to watch an exciting football team play, and that's what Minnesota's become. I want to ask you about Ford Field, and you guys will come play in one of the biggest games that Ford Field has seen. We were going through, Paul, earlier in the show, this late in the season, the number of games the Lions have played when they were over 500. Okay, and obviously they're not that now, but they're 5-7. They've played 6 games in the last decade this late in the season where they've been above 500. This crowd is going to be lights out. How difficult is Ford Field to come in and play in an atmosphere like that?
Well, I mean, you just kind of answered your own question. I mean, I've seen it so infrequently. It's
right.
I mean, with all due respect, I just told you, low key, the Motor City Kitties are my second favorite team, maybe tied with the Cleveland Browns. But
Paul, does this feel different to you then? You've seen so many different teams. Does this feel different to you when you watch them play this year?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I love Ford Field, okay, and I love the Greektown area of Detroit, and I love Detroit, man. I mean, like, sports is my career, but my number one hobby is to sit in the sinkhole and watch old school live R&B music from like Midnight Special.
Oh God, you're at the corner in Greektown for sure.
Right. Well, no, but Motown. I mean, it's like I'm all wound up right now on a 1974 show from Gladys Knight and the Pips in Detroit where she's singing Neither One of Us, and I've probably watched it 100 times. Or the Stylistics from Philly, but it's a show in Detroit doing You Make Me Feel Brand New. So Detroit is a music town. Yeah, Detroit is music immortality, man, and that's my outside of reading the Bible and doing stuff like that. Right. That is my number one secular hobby. So I love the musical component of Detroit. I love the food in Detroit. I love Greektown, and I love Ford Field. It's top 2 or 3 for me. Wow. Not a bad seat in the house. Where they have us is a high angle, but that's good because I'm racetrack raised, having called races for 30 years. Think DRC from back in the day. And so I call basically the whole game off binoculars. So the higher we are, the more of a natural all-22 I get. Yeah, man, the people running the press box at Ford Field are awesome. Yeah, I love Ford Field. So, but it is different, and here's why it's different. Because the Lions are healthy. Jamal Williams has all those rushing touchdowns. DeAndre Swift is a badass. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the 10 best receivers in the NFL, and I know I said 10, and I mean 10.
Wow.
And the offensive line, I told everybody who would listen, coming into the season, Decker over to Sewell with Ragnow in the middle. Well, that's the best offensive line in the division. So now the middle linebacker, the Oklahoma State kid, well, he's
Malcolm
worked out.
Rodriguez, yeah.
Okuda's a badass. Yeah, Okuda's a badass. I mean, it's week 3. The Lions are here, and Jefferson's getting put on a terrible game. And Okuda is just beating him up at the line. And he was doing so legally. It was all within the parameters of the rules. And I think Jefferson might have had 14 yards in that game. And I said to the analyst during the game, Pete Burstich, I'm like, I mean, seriously, if I'm Jeff Okuda, I'm pissed off too. I was like the 5th overall pick. You had almost my whole career robbed via injury. Yeah, I'm pissed off, and I'm gonna jack you up at the line. And so, but JJ has learned from that. That helped Jefferson too. So yeah, man, I love Okuda. This Kirby whatever bit replacing Walker. He's got a little badass in him. When I started putting together the game calling depth chart, I thought Jay Houston was Justin Houston, and then all of a sudden I started watching James Houston, and I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing here with this. That's good. The punter throws passes. The kicker seems to be working out. Yeah, this is a nice team, and it's probably the best overall Lions team. I can't remember when I saw a better overall Lions team at any stage of the season in my 20-some-odd years calling Vikings games.
Wow, that's a pretty big statement. As far as the Vikings, Paul, How many better teams have you seen than this version of the Vikings, sitting at 10-2, a shoe-in for the division title, still have hopes alive of a bye and a 1 seed in the playoffs? Is this the year that Minnesota gets back to the Super Bowl and, heaven forbid, wins the Super Bowl? And is Kirk Cousins the guy to lead you?
I don't see anybody beating Philadelphia, and I just, they just had an injury to Robert Quinn. He's going to go on the IR for a minute, but when they got Quinn from the Bears, he messed up their run defense because he's not interested in stopping the run. So then the run defense got bad. Okay, well, then the run defense got good, and now he goes out. So they're playing fantasy football, man, like the Rams did with Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph. So, but I don't see anybody beat that quarterback. He's unbelievable. I have so much respect for Jalen Hurts and the way he plays the game. The Cowboys are better than us. They killed us, and until proven otherwise, they're better than us. And Kirk Cousins, the Holland, Michigan native, he's making the greatest throws that he's ever made in his life. And it's a fantasy football culture, and he's a conundrum, because his stats and his numbers aren't close to where they have been like the last 3 years. However, he's making those from like the left hash mark to the back right of the end zone, and they're dimes. He's making the most timely, quality-laden throws he's ever made in his life. And yeah, we absolutely can win the Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins.
Man, Paul, you're like a vitamin B shot, first of all. I want to tell you that. Second, I just want your opinion on Jared Goff. The way he looks now, and do you think he's the long-term solution for the Lions?
Who was that?
Jared Goff.
Well, yeah. See, Jared Goff is one of the most underrated players in the NFL, and he has been for years. I mean, let's not forget Super Bowl, and Sean McVay is a genius. Okay, now that we have a bunch of coaches here, including our head coach Kevin O'Connell, who were just with the Rams, and I've learned a lot about McVay, but mostly how McVay handled man during the pandemic. I have such respect for Sean McVay. He truly is a genius play caller. Okay, so Goff had him, but Jared still needed to get it done, and he still needed to convert on third down, and he still needed to recognize what Sean put in while the linebacker moved, and so therefore I got to change the play. And Jared's very smart. It's clear his arm isn't the greatest, but it's good enough. And his pocket awareness at times can be really, really good. That's part of the reason he's taken 19 sacks. So, yeah, Jared Goff is an underrated player. You obviously can get to the Super Bowl with him. And, the way he's been the last 3 to 5 games has been just spectacular.
Paul, thanks so much for doing this. So I worked with Dan. I still work with Dan at the local Fox station here too. So I texted him. I said I have Paul Allen on. He said, "Love PA, the best, the greatest listen ever. PA, love him."
Yeah, I love Dan, man. And like when the Lions have an afternoon game or a non-Sunday game or whatever, and Dan will listen to me call games on Sirius satellite radio, and I do the same with him when the Vikings play at a different time. So we'll text each other. And the thing with me that I think Dan just can't get around is like there's actually a radio station and a company, iHeartRadio, and a team, the Minnesota Vikings, who let somebody look at a camera and go, "You lucky suckers." I know it doesn't happen everywhere, but that's how God made me. And God's going to have me in that job or not in that job, depending on which way he wants it to go.
Well, hopefully he has you in it for a lot longer, Paul. We certainly appreciate it. We love you here in Detroit. Thanks so much, my friend.
Thanks,
Best
Paul.
of luck moving forward.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Good luck, and enjoy the game this weekend.
Thank you
Paul.
so
Thanks,
much.
Paul.
The great Paul Allen on Twitter at PA on the mic.
What did I tell you about this guy?
Well, I know. You love him. We all love him.
I know.
Yeah,
Well, there's a lot of people that don't listen to games around the country.
Right.
He's one of the best in the biz, hands down.
A lot of people who would listen to us, though, are probably like us, and probably dorks that seek all this stuff out, right? I would think so. Guys, going to take a break. First message from the Foaling Warehouse.
That's right. $12 unlimited open play or a private lane reservation. For $120, you can have a lane to yourself and 10 others for $120. 2 hours. It's all yours. How about that bar menu? Over 100 beers they offer, plus the $2 mystery beer machine. Bring your own food in or have it delivered. You do it. Get your Foal on right now at foalingwarehouse.com.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward in Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff-A Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries, what will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, Fletch?
I'm doing pretty well. How are
Fletch,
you?
buddy? I love the way Fletch counts himself down.
I know. If I don't say anything, you guys will be talking over me.
Okay.
Right, that's right, buddy. Doing his job.
All right, well, we're
$10?
sitting in here hanging out in the Planet Fitness Studios. They're the official studio sponsor of Woodward Sports, and they're also home of the Judgment-Free Zone.
No judgments,
where
Fletch?
you can work out in a non-intimidating Judgment-Free Zone for only $10 a month, or upgrade to the Black Card for unlimited guest privileges, hydro massage, and more. You can join in club today or online at planetfitness.com.
That's right. Thursday Night Football tonight, Tom Mazawey. It's going to be game time decision for your boy Baker Mayfield. I hope he does not play tonight.
He looks weird in that number 17 jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till next year when he gets his single number jersey back.
How do you know he's going to get that?
He will, because he's got Sean McVay coaching him, and that's going to be the new quarterback in the Rams.
Is he going to get 9 next year?
He's going to be
after Matthew Stafford retires.
New quarterback of the Rams next year will be Baker Mayfield. But yes, book it right here tonight against the Raiders. Raiders finally playing some good football. Let's face it, Jacobs is going nuts the last 4 weeks. Great running back. They got Devontae Adams. Derek Carr is starting to play good. Maybe, remember we talked about, I talked about it, that I thought the Raiders could make the playoffs. Then they go into a tailspin. They just couldn't recover. I don't know what the heck went wrong with that team this year.
The coach.
You don't like Derek Carr? You're not a Derek Carr fan?
No, I think he's overrated.
Well, the quarterback and the coach. That's a terrible coach.
Josh McDaniels.
Some guys are not head coaches.
Yeah.
But let's see if he could pull this season together and the Raiders can make a run. Let's face it, we're all rooting for the Raiders tonight, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No doubt. I'm rooting for the Raiders. They're not dead yet. They're 2 games. The same situation as the Lions, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but the AFC is a little tougher to make it.
Well, they got the Jets. I mean, the Jets right now have that last spot.
That's true. You
5
never
loss,
know.
7-5. I mean, you get to 6-7, you're alive. The Raiders.
You never know.
10 wins is going to get it done, obviously, for the Raiders too.
So Raiders-Rams tonight. We'll see how that goes. John Wolford will be a game-time decision. He's got that neck injury, so they'll decide if he's not going to play. Baker will play. They'll probably give him a vanilla offense to run and see where it goes. It could be a lot of Cam Akers.
It's gonna melt like vanilla ice cream.
All right, there you go, Lindsey. There you go. Speaking of your team, let's talk about your quarterback, Jimmy G. Did not have to have surgery.
No surgery.
So he didn't have a Liz Frank injury, just a flat-out broken foot.
Yeah.
He could be back for the playoffs. They're not expecting him, but he could be.
He could be. But I'm sticking with Purdy. I like what I see
big
from
on
him.
Purdy.
I mean, the guy stepped in, unassuming and did a great job finishing the game. He did a great job. He managed the game perfectly, and that's all we need. We got enough weapons. All we need is, hit a couple of screen plays, hit a couple across the middle,
I really consider Deebo Samuel to run a little wildcat at quarterback. Play with quarterback.
But we got McCaffrey, so we can do it with McCaffrey also.
There's another.
We got Kittles. I mean, we have.
Kittle's been quiet this year.
No, he played well the last game, though.
Yeah.
Can you imagine McCaffrey and Deebo in the backfield? No quarterback?
Oh, you never know, man.
That'd be sweet.
That's a team that's playing defense, like you said. What did they give up, 20 points once this year?
Twice.
With
13 games.
This is the first time we've given up a second half score in like
a month. Over a month.
I like how you say we.
Yes.
That's right. He's wearing the colors. He's wearing the colors for sure. Guys, going to get a break. Come right back. We'll talk a little Pistons when we come back. Also, big win for the Spartans last night. But first, a message from Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac all month long at Les Stanford on Michigan Avenue in Dearborn. You can get a 2022 Silverado for just $285 a month with $19.95 down. Also, a Malibu for just $225 a month, $19.99 down. Bring in the new year with new wheels. LesStanford.com. LesStanford.com. Find new roads.
Find them.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
At Alta.
Uptime, it matters.
Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, give Alta Rental a call. They've got you covered. Call them today at 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA.
Alta. Hey, I want to talk a little Pistons basketball before we get out of here. Lindsey Hunter with us in for Braylon. Braylon will be back on Monday. Tom Mazawey, Fletch JB. Pistons go down once again. Sadiq Bey at 25 last night. They lose to the Pelicans last night, 104-98. One of the, I don't know if this is good or bad, but I think it's probably good. One of the rare games we've seen the Detroit Pistons lose that wasn't a blowout.
Yeah.
Sorry to say.
They played tough the other night, too.
I know. They're playing good. I'm so frustrated because I did want so much more for this season. I just wanted so much more for this season.
They're young and Cade's out.
I know.
It's a lot of variables go into them struggling a little bit.
You know what I kind of equate this to? Last year's Red Wings team. Mm-hmm. And I feel like next year's Pistons team would be equivalent to this year's Red Wings team, where you are going to be fighting for a play. I expect them to fight for a playoff berth next season.
Depends who they get.
Now, whether they get in or not, I don't know. Whether they get in or not, that's a different story.
So you're expecting a play-in game.
Or to be on the at least in April playing with something on the line.
Gotcha.
Now, whether you get into that 10th spot or not, it almost doesn't even. Well, it doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but I feel like you need to see it. Progress comes, yes, but progress with wins is a different story.
Yeah, totally different.
You know,
but they ran into a buzzsaw last night.
Yeah.
I mean, Zion was a monster last night. He was absolutely unstoppable. So, and they're division leaders. You know, New Orleans is playing good basketball. So to be in the game at the end was great for them. They just couldn't pull it out.
Yep.
What do you have a feeling on the super kid coming up, Victor Wembanyama?
Oh God!
I mean, how good is he, and what could he do for any team that gets him? A team, let's just say, if the Pistons somehow God shines down on us and gives us the number 1 pick, the NBA God, I mean, do you think? Does he make that much of a difference?
I think he does, because he's such an anomaly. He is, like I've called him, a unicorn.
Yeah.
The kid is 7'3" and moves like he's 6'2". That you just don't see that, you know. And the way today's game is played, he's thin, but the physicality won't be as bad because it's not as physical as it used to be. So, he's a once in a lifetime player.
Really?
It looks that way.
Wow.
Yeah. It looks like he's one of those guys we'll be talking. If, he progresses the way we see him progressing without injuries and all that, he could be one of those guys we talk about, like with LeBron and those types of guys.
That's who you're comparing him to?
I'm not comparing him to LeBron.
Like a Giannis type player?
There's no one really to compare him to because he's more skilled than Giannis.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, he shoots threes. He can bring the ball. He can handle. He can pass. He's great on defense. He's much taller than Giannis. He's an anomaly. Trust me, you see this guy, man. I've watched him, and I had to watch him over and over.
So he's a franchise maker.
Absolutely.
Well, it's pretty exciting then that the Pistons are losing all these games.
All right, I don't give a damn.
Their 20 losses are tied for a league high with the Orlando Magic right now, sitting there at 20 losses.
Well, there's two guys. There's a guard by the name of Scoot who's really, really good. He's more on the Derrick Rose model. He's freakishly athletic. He can score. He can do everything. Those two guys are the can't miss prospects.
How good can Jaden Ivey be?
Oh, he could be really good. He could be really good. I think he will be really good.
He's just learning.
Yeah, he's still learning.
I said last year,
gotta shoot better.
And I don't know, last year leading up to the draft, I didn't really Ben Carroll's a nice player, and Chet Holmgren I was just not a fan of. I just don't believe in his health, his body. I could be wrong on that. I hope I'm wrong for that because I got nothing against the kid. But even if the Pistons have the number 1 pick, I feel like Jaden Ivey.
No. Paolo is a man amongst boys.
Yeah. Is that too much like Cade though, or could he play with?
No,
Cade?
he's taller.
Yeah,
he's like 6'10".
But I'm saying he could obviously play with Cade.
He can play with anybody.
Yeah, right.
He's a monster.
Yeah. Very good. Well, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. Michigan State got a win last night. First time ever that they were an underdog against Penn State, too.
They've been playing terrible. They snap a 2-game losing streak, and Izzo's got them playing all those tough teams at the beginning of the year. Now it's Big Ten time. Yeah. So we'll see how they go. I think they'll be fine going forward.
Yeah, they got a couple of injuries.
Michigan's got injuries.
Yeah, well, Michigan State with Jaden Atkins, I think when he gets healthy, because I love Jaden Atkins. I love his game. And I think if he gets healthy and play up to potential, they'll be fine.
Red Wings are in Florida again tonight. They're playing the Panthers. They beat the Lightning the other night. They're trying to sweep Florida here. So
we see Chad Johnson at that one too. He was courtside at the.
He might be on the Red Wing bench.
Our esteemed owner here at Woodward Sports, Lady Janes. He was courtside and next to the Pistons bench with his son Axel.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool to see the other night in Miami as the Pistons took on the Heat.
I like how the Piston players came up to him because they were wearing their Detroit gear, and they paid him. They did a great job. He took a picture with Cade.
Yeah,
it was
Dwayne
nice to
Casey.
see.
Absolutely.
nice to see.
Guys, we're going to get out of here. Lindsey, thanks so much for being
All
here
right,
once
fellas.
again today.
Thanks for
We'll see you
having me.
tomorrow. Again,
Yes, sir.
Braylon will be back on Monday, guys. Can't wait for the pick segment tomorrow, man. By the way, have you picked your eliminator pool yet, though?
Yes, but I could change it. I've already changed it 3 times.
Really?
The first team I put in was San Francisco.
Oh, God.
I took them down because of Jimmy G. The next team I put in was the Titans. They play the Jags, but the spread is too close, and those two teams, the Jags somehow always manage to screw them, and they always screw me. So now I hate doing it, but I got the Bills. I'm the only guy out of the 6 left that have the Bills. They're playing the Jets. Jets beat the Bills, but I'm going to take the Bills unless something changes by Sunday morning.
Would you dare
take the Lions?
Take the Lions. I want to explore that with you tomorrow,
Oh,
Tom.
my God. It's a lot of money on the Lions.
All right, everybody, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe.
See ya.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.